Welcome back to another episode of Just Jossin' Around. My guest today, Ben Katzner. Did I say that right?
You nailed it. Crushed it.
Okay, good. I just asked beforehand, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go on. I'm not alliteration's not the word. Phonetic,
Sure.
where you just like sound it out.
You crushed it. You went in raw. You hit it right. You did it good. You was amazing. That's crazy. I've never said that before, so I'm sorry already. I've never said you went in raw on my last name. Okay.
No, it's.
Can you tell that you're the first person I've talked to today? Does that feel...
If it makes you feel any better, you are also the first person I've talked to today. I have been behind a computer screen, just dissociating.
Yeah, all of us. I think everybody who's listening can feel that 100%.
Yeah.
We're all right there with you. You're not alone.
I feel like, especially even like coming into the studio today, like passed by someone, I was like, wait, I can say hi. I don't have to like hide from human interaction.
You run around the corner, you're like, not yet. We're not ready yet.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have you on today. This is so cool. I also never got to talk to you. You came to Lincoln. You did a show at Backswing Brewing Company, and I never got to really chat with you about that. But I will say my boss said the show was killer. One of the best they'd ever had at Backswing. That is.
Oh, wow.
For real. He was like, I put on a New Year's show there like maybe 2 years ago, and he talks about that one. And he was like, it was as good as New Year's. And I was like, really? So it was a great show, apparently. What were your thoughts on it?
We had a lot of fun. I appreciate you hooking us up. Like, you were booked and busy, so you couldn't be there. Like, that's a good reason not to be there. You're like, hey, I got
horrible.
No, that's good. All the other comedians on the show were awesome, and
awesome.
Myself and my we were co-headlining with me and Mike Lester. And we had a great time. Mike had a great set. I think Mike had an awesome set, and I was just like, yeah, it feels good to unleash your friend on Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah,
like, you guys need to see this because it's awesome.
Oh, I genuinely, after I was getting like FOMO because so my boss had texted me, and then my friend Ben, who had hosted the show, he calls me after the show to like rave about it, and I'm like, if he's calling me, that's how I know it was really good. And then I was like in Kansas City, and I was having like extreme FOMO. I was like, I'm missing out on like amazing sets right now.
we gotta link up. We gotta come back. We gotta come to Minneapolis or something.
I definitely want, because you do your show. It's the Darlings Comedy Show.
Darlings Comedy. Every Thursday at Minneapolis and at Zora Darling. If you're ever in Minneapolis, it's a free show. It's late, so you can go do all your other stuff, and then at 9 p.m., you can come laugh with the homies. It's a great show.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I definitely have seen that, and I've been like, I've never been to Minneapolis, so
you gotta come through.
It would be a really fun trip.
Absolutely. You let me know when you're gonna be in town. We'll get you on some shows. You're gonna have a great time.
Okay, I need to hear that. All right, I'll spend less time behind a computer screen and maybe on the road.
No, you have to bring your computer. Actually, that's going to be part of the bit. It's like you're going to be on stage and you're still going to be like sending emails and doing podcasts and stuff.
Exactly. Which I don't mean to make this like a meta conversation where we're on a podcast talking about a podcast, but I do want to talk about your podcast.
Please.
Troll. It looks amazing. I don't know if you guys have someone who's like producing that for you, or you're doing all the work. It looks great. The guests have been great, and it's just a good listen overall.
Thank you. I appreciate that you listen. Like anyone at all. If you saw us in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you thought that's something you want to hear, like 45 minutes to an hour of me and Mike just being weird, come listen to our podcast. Check out our show. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, all the stuff. Okay. And yeah, we do have a producer. Our producer is Neil. And I was like, does Neil have a last name? I don't even know anymore at this point. But
producer
Neil, we literally call him Producer Neil. And he's awesome. He does a lot of the graphic work for us. He has a lot of ideas. He works at Acme Comedy Company here.
Okay.
One of the best clubs in the country. So he knows comedy like that, but he doesn't listen to comedy podcasts really. Like he's more into like YouTube stuff and like streamers. So he has a lot of different kind of ideas than I think like what you would see on a lot of comedy podcasts. So a lot of the visual stuff is him taking our ideas and like giving them life through his eyes, which makes it so much more fun for us.
Damn. And that tracks. Cause I mean, that's what I was like. I was looking at like the graphics and stuff for it. Sure. I mean, even when you guys, I think, when you guys were coming to Lincoln, it looked like you guys were just starting that podcast.
Yeah. We'd like done a tour. So the tour wasn't exactly, I think in the future, like we'll tour again together, and we'd probably do like a live podcast somewhere, and then do stand up.
Yeah.
But this one was like Mike and I just moved back to Minneapolis from New York, and Mike and I have known each other for a very long time, and we were like, I don't know, you want to just hit the road together and see what happens?
Yeah.
And shenanigans ensued. But yeah, so it was kind of the beginning of the podcast, and also the beginning of us like touring together and doing different stuff together. Absolutely.
I think it's really cool. There's a comic, in case your name's Maddie Stancic, but like finding a comic that you like mesh well with, and you're like, I would totally be in a car with you for an extended period of time. And also we balance each other out on shows. Like it goes well. That's like a gem to find in comedy.
It's a hard thing to do. And even dude, you're in cars with people you love. I love Mike, but we still, like it's still like we're doing 10-hour car rides together one way, and we're like, I mean, maybe we don't talk for like 15 minutes to each other. That's okay. But we're good enough friends and respect each other enough comedically where it's like, okay, now we're good again. We had our little break. Everything's fine. We stopped at Starbucks. Everybody's happy. Let's go.
That's so real. I feel like when I'm in a car ride for a long time, especially when you're with a comic, I feel like the pressure to like, you kind of feel like you're on it, like conversationally, you're going back and forth. And whenever I'm like drained, I'm like, is there a podcast you like? Like, I'm like, I was like, what would you like to listen to?
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm one of those comedians. When I'm off stage, I'm the most off you've ever seen a person in your life. Like, I'm not riffing. I'm not like, what if he was wearing a weird shirt? That's not me. People will be like, I had to train myself to stop answering. People be like, how's it going? I had to train myself to stop giving the real answer because I'm always like, man, I don't know. Who knows? We're all going to run out of water anyway. Who cares? And they're just like, okay, well, I'm going to go inside. I'm like, all right.
Really?
So I am not like it takes a special kind of, I understand that it takes a special kind of person to be able to hang out with me all the time. And Mike has that energy, and I'm very appreciative of him for that. Also, my wife, I guess. I'm also appreciative of my wife for being able to deal with that.
Yeah, she's kind of had to lock in. She's accepted probably more of the offstage you than
100%. Yeah. Those are the two main characters in my life. It's my wife and it's Mike Lester. So it's great.
That's good balance. I feel like
they keep it real with me all the time, and I always know where I stand with them, and it's behind them 100%.
I love that so much. So I don't know. I guess I don't know much about you. When did you start? Has it always been Minneapolis, or what's going on?
So I did start in Minneapolis. I think I just hit like 11 years doing comedy, which feels good to say. Yeah, you would think after a decade I'd either quit or be successful, but not me.
Success.
So I just hit like the 11-year mark, I guess. And thank you. I appreciate that. I started in Minneapolis. Like I started a little bit outside of Minneapolis, like an hour and a half, in this small town called St. Cloud, Minnesota, right? And I remember like the first open mic I did, I had to drive to Minneapolis, and then I was like, wow, that was fun, but like that's not a thing you can do, right? Like you don't do that again. And then I got just going after work, going to Minneapolis, doing open mics, started to do shows and stuff. And eventually it was like, okay, I guess I can do this. I was working as a journalist at the time, and I was like, I had seen a lot of people who were like very tenured, good journalists get let go, like get fired. And because that's what happens in journalism, they're like, well, you're good, and now we have to pay you more, and we're not going to.
Oh, wow.
So they would just be like, we're going to let you go. So I was like, well, I can just be poor as a comedian. That's fine. So I chose that path instead. So started outside of Minneapolis for like maybe like 6 months or something, and then moved to Minneapolis. And then in 2017, I moved to New York, and I was in New York for 6 years, and then just moved
that's
back.
A while.
Yeah, it was through the pandemic. It was through all that stuff. So it felt like 40 years. And and then my wife and I moved back to Minnesota in November. So yeah.
Amazing. So it's wow. So you guys met in New York then?
Me and my wife, we actually knew each other. I'm a little bit older than her, but we went to the same college, so we knew each other there. Awesome. And then like kind of after college connected again. I'm not kidding. I literally put out like a status that was like, this was back when people were like putting out Facebook statuses and shit. That's all. If you want to know how old I am, I put out a Facebook status that was like, hey, gonna be in Minneapolis tonight. If anyone wants to make out, come through. And guess who came crawling to your boy?
I love that.
Yeah, so we we kind of had an interesting night, and then later on, I was like, we should probably go on like an actual date, right? It shouldn't just be us making out by a bathroom, right? Like we should let me buy you a sandwich or something, because I'm a romantic.
The sandwich, yeah. Yes.
And then after, just kind of went from that. So actually, as long as I've been with my wife, almost as long as I've been with my wife, I've been doing comedy. So she's been with me through like pretty much every step of the way, which is cool.
That's so cool. So when you were I know you said, so you were a journalist when you were in New York. Did you do any like kind of writing out there?
I did a little like freelance here and there. I did some like op-ed kind of opinion pieces. Like I had some stuff that I can't even remember what the publication was anymore, but some stuff that was like, it was like weirdly enough, like Business Insider, like something like that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think like their non-businessy section of Insider, so it was just called Insider, and like I was able to do some stuff through them, which for me was very cathartic at the time. I know this is a comedy podcast and we're having fun, but like it was about when I lived in Minneapolis, I lived like, I don't know, like half a block away from where George Floyd was killed. So I wrote, again, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So I did like a funny story about, no, I'm just kidding. I wrote a little bit about that. And like in that pandemic time, there was just a lot of like, in Minneapolis specific, there's a lot of stuff going on. And there's a lot of people who didn't live in Minneapolis who were talking about how Minneapolis is. So I just was able to write something about that and be like, hey, instead of me replying individually to all these people who are saying wild shit to me, here's what I think. I put it out, and that was really nice. But I didn't do a ton of freelance writing, and that's something I think I want to get back into now if I can, actually.
Yeah, that would be. Would you ever? And I know it's a whole probably different thing than whatever, but my brain can't help but go to like, would you ever do any kind of like script writing or like sketch writing or anything?
Absolutely. Like what's interesting now is like when I was a kid, when I was younger, like I loved the idea of doing sketches. Like I sometimes I go back, and in high school we had this like video yearbook, and part of that, which was basically just me and my dumb friends being like, what if we put the mascot in a bar and pretended he was drunk or whatever? And all of our teachers being like, you can't do that. And then us doing it anyway. And like, I came into comedy via sketch. Like I loved, weirdly, I loved Mad TV when I was a kid. I loved SNL.
Really?
I loved Chappelle's show. Like that was probably, and that was all before I really started consuming stand-up. So definitely would love to get into that realm. And I have stuff in the back burner of like scripts I've written and stuff, but it's just a matter of kind of getting it out there. And I kind of need someone to be like, hey, give me this. I need that kick in the ass to like do that. But
absolutely.
I did. And then in the pandemic, I did write a graphic novel.
Really? About what?
So it's about a kid who gets poop-based superpowers. All right,
immediately.
Look at me. I'm an adult man. That's what I decided to write about. But it was through Vault Comics, and it's for like middle grade readers. It's for kids and stuff. So we did that, and then I'm working on another one that I don't know what I can say about it yet. But I think it comes out. It's going to be a way different vibe, but it comes out in 2025 at some time, hopefully.
That is so amazing. Answers a lot of my questions too, because I hate to. Well, I'll expose myself. I'm a stalker, so I like was Googling, and it said you were a writer, and I was like, well, but that's so cool. A graphic, like it was like a comic book.
Yeah. So we had a different artist wrote like I did the words and he did the art, and like it was just a really fun, like for anyone who's ever like read Captain Underpants or anything.
That's immediately
that's the comparison we get a lot. Ian was the artist on that. He's incredible. And it was a really good, it's one of those things that kind of came out through, I had a relationship with a comedian who's also a comic book writer. He knew some people who were looking for people, and I threw my hat in the ring. And like, it's one of those things where like, I never thought I would be here doing this, but like, I'm so excited that I got to do that. And like, our relationship has continued, and hopefully I get to do that a lot more.
Ugh, I love stuff like that. It is like a lot of the comics I talk to, it's like the things you end up doing, the projects, everything like that. It's like you just have these weird connections through comedy, and then you're
Yes.
like, could you have told me like I had Amy Miller on here a few weeks ago,
Hell
and
yeah.
she was talking about her new gig with like the Osbournes and how it was like she got it because she knew someone like 7 years ago who like got her with the right people, and I was just like, you just don't know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. It's
That's
very neat.
awesome.
It's cool.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of like comedy classes or whatever, but the one
Yeah.
time I got to spoke, this is why I don't do. One time I got to spoke to y'all. The one time I got to speak to like some up and coming like comedians,
Yeah.
writers, and stuff for this workshop. The thing I said was like 90% of the work you get and 90% of the cool shit you do
Yep.
is gonna come from your friends and your peers and people who respect you.
Yeah.
So like treat them accordingly, not like social climb and whatever, but like
Yeah.
treat people with respect. You don't know who's going to be, one place 1 year and then the next place next year. So
Yeah.
just understand that we're all trying to grow. We're all trying. And unless someone's like an actual shitty person, like
And exactly.
be kind, and just give them a little grace, and you never know what can come out of that sort of stuff.
That's so true. Also, another thing I feel like is like I mean, I say I used to, not really. I've definitely like I would maybe only surround myself with like comics or something, but now I'm just very like people who like musicians or like,
Mm-hmm.
just people who have different like again, once again, you never know how someone may need you in some kind of way.
100%.
So it's like I have friends and who have different art forms and things that they pursue and their talents, and like it just is cool to see it work together and all
Absolutely.
that. But
And there's so much you can learn from people who are doing different stuff. And
I
it's just
know,
fun to be exposed to, different kinds of environments and stuff. And like, there was that thing I don't know if people still say this, but a long time ago, I remember like Pete Holmes or someone being like,
yeah,
you got to live a life worth commenting on or something. Right. And it's
mm,
like, that's the beauty of what we do, is that like, yeah, you might be. So this last weekend, I was with Kelsey Cook in
yeah, I love Kelsey.
Timonium, Maryland. Not even Baltimore. We're in Timonium. Couldn't point it out to you on a map. Couldn't tell you what to do. But we were just kind of leaned in. We were like, hey, we have a rental car. Like, let's
Yep,
go to the state fair. Let's go
that's so cool.
bowling. Let's go do all this other stuff. And it was funny because it's like our downtime is like, you have that balance of like, I got to rest, I got to do
Yeah,
whatever. But like in our downtime, we just kind of get to it's almost like we're in witness protection. You know what I mean? We're just
yeah,
like, hey, what if my name is Walter now? And like I wear my hat funny, like,
that's so
and
fun.
you just get to meet different people and do all
Yeah,
these different things. And like that's one of the fun things besides being on stage
yep.
about being a performer, is that you just get to have these mini lives that you get to live every day.
That's so true. And also, I love the like just the idea of like immersing yourself even in like the smallest of town you've never heard of, like
Yeah.
immersing yourself in their culture, going and like whatever like little
Yes.
thing that they have to do going on, you like go and you put yourself in that.
I immersed myself in the
It's
Maryland State Fair culture. I
yeah.
had deep fried watermelon, which I will admit at first I thought felt racist, but you know,
Okay,
it
was it
was
good?
it was incredible. It was
How
awesome.
did they do that without like drying it out? I don't get that.
It was, I don't know. There's like, I think she was Filipino. I think there's a Filipino woman,
Okay.
this black dude, and I was like, I don't know, man. He's like, no, dog, you got to try it. And I tried it, and both Kelsey and I were like, this is the best thing we've ever had. And
Yeah.
I don't know any of the trade secrets. I just know that it was dope. And if anyone ever comes across it, put all the stereotypes behind you
Yeah.
and
Go
just
for it.
have it, and you'll feel
Okay.
good about it. I promise you.
I'm so curious about that now because honestly, that's probably one of the only fried foods I could eat and be like, I could have another. Like, I feel like I could like do that a couple
Yeah,
times. It's not
yeah.
like a guilty thing.
It's weird because like I really just feel like the whole point of any state fair now is like, what if we just deep fried a car battery? You know what I mean? Like they just say, like you can eat anything fried as long as
Yes.
it's the state fair. It doesn't matter. So like I
Yeah.
was skeptical, but I will say it was pretty good, and it had like I thought it would be more like refreshing. This is a different podcast now. This is a food podcast now. I thought it'd be more like
That.
I thought it'd be more like refreshing and whatever, but it was like
Yeah.
truly a good desserty kind of feel to it. I was like, oh, this feels like a delicacy, even though it's on a stick, and I just stepped in horse shit.
I'm very fascinated by that. Yeah, that's different. I would expect it to be refreshing. I would almost expect it to be cold, but it won't be cold.
It was hot. That was the one thing.
Unsettling.
You don't want the batter to separate from the watermelon, because then you just have hot watermelon, which is actual torture. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Burning.
Hot watermelon is bad, and instead of like I don't know, water torture or whatever, waterboarding, you should just feed terrorists hot watermelon and they'll tell you everything you want to know. That part was bad, but altogether, it comes all together and it's good.
Wow. Dang, now I have a reason to go to, what's it called? Timonium?
Timonium. I'm going to tell you right now, you do not have a reason to go to Timonium. Well, that's not true. You could work Magoobies. That's the comedy club there. It's a good comedy club. It was fun.
Okay.
So that's your reason. You go to Magoobies. Yes. Secondary reason is to find some deep fried watermelon.
Let's go. I think Kelsey Cook is coming to the Omaha Funny Bone.
I believe so, yeah.
Very soon. Are you going to be tagging along?
No, she hates me now. She was like, "I'm not spending another weekend with this fool. I'm done with him." No, I won't be there, but you should go. You should go check her out. She's very funny. She's working on some incredible new stuff, and whoever is opening for her is going to be a crusher. So you'll have a good time. And you should introduce yourself. You should say, "Hey, Ben says to say hi."
Okay, I'll do my best, but also I get shy. I love talking to comics.
Great.
But also when it's a comic that I respect, I go, "Don't look at me."
You go up and introduce yourself and then be like, "Look away." And then like, "Oh, wow, what a power, what a flex." I've never had a stranger say hi and then "Get away from me" before. That's incredible.
It's like a very right? Like I don't know how to like overcome that. And like there's some comics that like for example, like I was very nervous. I love Amy Miller, and when she said she would come on, I was like, be cool, be cool, be cool. Like don't like be a nerd. But then and I worked through that. But it's like comics that I respect that I see and I want to introduce myself, or I want to say like, "Hi, I respect your work." I just can't. I can't do it.
I think what here's what I'm like, what's my advice for this?
Impart your wisdom.
It's really, you gotta think of it like this. At the end of the day, we're all comedians. That's number one, right?
True.
So most people are gonna be chill. So just go up and be like, "Hey, Joslyne, I'm a comedian. We're having a good time. It's cool," right? And then two, they're not gonna, if you're not weird, they're not gonna remember. It's gonna be fine. Like you're gonna have to re-meet all these people so many times.
This is literally my therapist being like, "Why do you think you matter so much? Why do you think people?"
Which is tough.
It is tough. It's also like, yeah.
That's the reality, is like, there are people I've had to re-meet like 5 times.
True.
Or my name sticks, or their name sticks, or whatever. Yeah. And they're not being a dick. It's just like, especially if they're a headliner coming through, like they meet so many people, and even that weekend, they're trying to remember like the people on the staff. They're trying to remember, all these other people. And so like sometimes you might be like, "Oh God, I'm gonna look at them weird," and they're gonna be like, "Get out of here." But if you just go like, "Hey, I'm a comedian. I think you're really funny," and blah 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 blah, that's good. That's a great first impression. It might not, it doesn't have to turn into this whole thing. And then you meet him again. You're like, "Oh yeah, I saw you in Omaha. You were with Ben. He was really fun. You guys were great, and you were really nice." And then you just kind of go from there.
I didn't know we'd be cracking into my social anxiety today, and it feels really.
This is actually my podcast now, and it's called Breaking Down Our Walls with Ben Katzner. And thank you so much for being on the pod with us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. But for real, I have these. I've been having these. So I went and recently saw a psychic like over the weekend, and she was telling me, she was like, "You're going to be having a lot of stress dreams." And I have. And I've been having.
It feels like she just implanted that. She's like, "You know what? Boom, you're going to be having a lot of stress dreams. You've been psychic."
And you've been psychic. Literally. And now, so I had a dream last night that like I went to go see a band that I really like. And I got to meet like the like lead singer of the band. And I was just blowing it. And So I feel like yes, she did say that, but also I'm like, this is a very real universal anxiety outside of comedy even.
Sure.
It's anything.
And the reality is sometimes you're gonna bomb in front of your heroes. Okay, that's just a thing that happens.
Has that happened to you?
I've definitely bombed. I take so many big swings in casual conversation that definitely. I don't know that I have a particular instance, but I do remember just having this feeling. My friend Steven Rogers was opening for Brian Regan, and Steve was cool enough to be like, "Hey, do you want to come backstage? Do you want to meet Brian? Do you want to hang out?" And I think at one point we were all just kind of hanging out. I don't remember what I said, but I just remember the literal thud of the punchline of my terrible. This is why I don't rip. This is why I'm still 99 when I'm just like, you know what? We're not trying anymore. We're down here. We're not up here. Yeah. But it was just one of those things where I was like, well, if he remembers me, he's gonna remember that I'm a moron. So that's nice. But we met again later and it was fine. So I think that's the thing is we're all human. We're all, especially as comedians, we're just trying to have a good time and trying to make each other laugh or trying to make people laugh, and everybody usually gets it, and if they don't, they're probably an asshole.
This is true. Okay, all right, maybe the stress dreams will fade away after this.
No, those will keep coming. You're gonna have waves of stress dreams. It's gonna be your fingernails are gonna fall off in one of them. You're gonna be like, oh my god, my hair is my teeth, and my teeth are my hair, and my teeth hair are falling out. And then you're not gonna know what that means, and nobody really knows what any of that means. And you just that's what life is. You just have to deal. Every part of. Here's the beautiful thing about life. Let me pontificate for a second.
Thank you.
The fun thing about life is that when you're awake, it's a nightmare. But then even when you're sleeping, sometimes it's a literal nightmare.
Yeah.
You don't. Exactly. There's no respite. You don't get away from any of the horrors of being alive. But this is a great podcast, though. I love it.
Thank you. It's so comforting. I want to make the listeners feel at ease. That's why I invite you guys on to just chat. And yeah, I'm very excited. I am gonna have to revisit my psychic. I'm calling her. No, I'm dead. No. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to my psychic. I keep calling her my psychic. She's not my psychic. I'm just my lady that apparently can speak to the beyond. I don't know. But
did you really believe? Here's my thing. I believe this stuff exists, right?
Sure.
I believe someone just asked me about this.
Yeah.
I believe that there are people who can tap into a different dimension or a different plane of existence.
Yeah.
Do you believe walking into someone's second floor apartment or something and they're like, come on in, and there's a smoke machine or something going, I don't know what you saw, and they're just like, so hi, I'm Tanya, I'm your psychic. Does that get you, or what do they have to do to make you believe in what they're doing?
Honestly, so I'll say this. So I sat down. So I'll say I went to a crystal shop.
Okay.
And in the crystal shop, apparently, I just so happened to come in. It was we have a psychic. We have a tarot reader / psychic. You pay the money. She's over there. You make an appointment with her. You go see her or whatever. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I'm fresh out of a breakup. I was like, I have nothing. Let's do it.
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I go and I do it. And literally I sit down at the table and she looks at me and she's just like, are you in school? And I broke down crying immediately. I'm not in school. So it was just it was just so I want to go back and try it in a less fragile state of mind, because literally her asking me a conversation starter brought me to tears.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm all for you going back to a psychic. I don't know if you need to go back to one who was wrong right off the bat.
Well, and also because she starts talking about my ex and she keeps saying he, and I was like, it's a she. And
what are we, you know what I mean? I love that you love this, but you don't have to go back to this person specifically.
I don't, but also I need her to whatever curse she's put on me for having stress dreams.
Sure.
I need that undone.
Sure.
And I feel like it can only be through her. Have you ever seen a psychic? Would you ever see a psychic?
I would see one. I haven't seen one.
Okay.
The closest I've come, it's not close at all, but I've been thinking about doing like hypnotherapy, where someone like hypnotizes you.
Yeah.
Someone who's not a licensed therapist hypnotizes you, and it's just like, let's just see what happens. So like, I'm not far away from where you're at. That's just a different kind of, magic or whatever, that I think it's just another way to trick my brain into being like, I guess we tried,
I want to try that stuff. I've been looking at like, well, okay, so I kind of want to write a bit about this, but it is something very real that happened to me. I was I didn't know that like lobotomies, like no one's doing lobotomies anymore. Because I'm just looking for. No one does that.
Well, actually, I know a back alley guy. If you really need one,
please get me in contact with him.
Weirdly enough, he works right out of the Omaha Funny Bone, so you should definitely go see that. Yeah.
I want to get in touch because I'm always looking for things that are like, beyond therapy or like just taking a medication to like help with like anxiety, depression, whatever. And I literally was like, is a lobotomy an elective surgery? Is this something, can insurance get behind this? And then those haven't been done in so long. And when they were done, they were awful.
Yeah, you want someone to like take a spike in your eye and just be like, I think we hit the brain, sir. And then they're like, okay, I guess that's a good surgery. We did it. And then you're just walking around with a railroad spike for the rest of your life coming on your face. But if that's what you want, I support that. Whatever you want is good.
Thank you. Thank you. Because it's like, I don't know, the idea of, I don't know what they take out, but if it's like the part
literal chunks of your brain, I'm going to answer that for you. It's chunks of your brain are what's taken out. But I'm going to be honest, I don't even know if they know what they're taking out.
Okay, well, I think that it was just like cut too soon. Like, I think now we have the technology, they would know what chunks to take out now. Had they continued, and I just like, I don't know. I would love that because I've tried, like, I've done like, I don't know if you've ever done like EMDR therapy or like,
I know what you're talking about, but I haven't.
Yeah. And I'm like, it does get to a point where you're like, can we just take it out?
Sure. Yeah.
Can we just get rid of it?
It's kind of like a tooth, they're like, okay, so you have an abscess tooth, like we could remove it for $50.
Yeah.
Or, for $3,000, we could like give you a bridge or something. And you're like, yeah, just remove my brain. Remove the chunk of the brain that's poison. Get it out of here. Exactly. I'll have a little hole in my head. Who cares? I'll put a fun hat on. Who gives a shit?
Okay, so you did mention going to hypnotherapy. I don't know what that would be for, but like, would you ever try like shock therapy?
Only in like a sexual manner. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't think. I'm not there. I'm not ready for that. I had there's another comedian that I knew back in the day who I think had done that, and I can't remember. I feel like he said he had like mixed results. Okay. I'm not a shock therapy person, but like people do different things. Like Gary Gulman talks about like using ketamine for like.
Yes, I just had a friend tell me like, have you thought about ketamine?
Yeah, because that's where we are as a society. Usually it's like, oh, you don't feel great? Maybe you try some mushrooms first.
Literally, I'm not kidding. First she started off by saying, she was like, I have a friend, if you have a big wad of cash, she'll do like, it's like a therapy, like a psychedelic therapy thing. You'll take the thing and whatever. Sure. But then she also was like, you could also go get ketamine. Yeah. Not here in the States, but you can go to somewhere or like
you can get it in the States. You can just drop into a little K-hole for 15 minutes and just see if you come out a different person. It happens. People do it. I get it.
I would be curious to try. Yeah. I don't know. I would do ketamine.
I would do DMT. That's the one I'm always like, I think that's like as far as I would go. I'm a big advocate of doing mushrooms. I mean, if everyone bleep that out on the podcast, if this is going to get you like demonetized or whatever, but like I think for me, I know a lot of people who microdose and it has done something for them a little bit. Me personally, I will sometimes do a little more than that, and for the next few days, like I feel pretty good. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. Like, I didn't expect to be talking about this on this podcast, but like I legitimately do feel a little bit better after doing like a good dose of mushrooms. So.
Really? Okay. I've never done, I don't think I've ever done like an actual dose because I am prone to, so when I don't smoke weed anymore. When I did, I had twice I had psychosis.
So you should not do mushrooms. You stay away from mushrooms probably.
But I want the thing that people say about it.
Yeah.
I feel like I could try, but it's also like, you know, I think that I would wait until, like, I guess now would be an okay time to do mushrooms in my life. But back when I was like smoking weed, I was like, I had a lot of stress with like my living situation. Like there was so much stress, and then I was doing drugs, and then it was like, I think I'm Jesus now. Went through all of that.
Sure.
And so I do.
If you think, yeah, I would say do a very. I'm not saying any. I'm saying anyone who's listening. I think everyone who's like 18 and older, I don't know how, whatever, should like do a little bit, not like crazy. I think sometimes when people talk about shrooms, they're like, oh, you know, you did like a handful and then I saw God. It's like, you don't gotta do all that.
I don't want to see.
Do like, you know, a stem and a cap and then a half or something, whatever. And then just giggle a lot and just have 3 hours where you're like, damn, everything's so funny. Then you will feel better after that. I promise you. So like, it doesn't have to be this crazy experience. It can just do enough where everything is funny and you'll have a good day. That's what I'll tell people.
That's good. I like this.
Yeah, I'm not like a licensed doctor or anything, but I mean,
it's kind of the advice that I've seen so far. This episode has been therapeutic. This has been.
I was a psychology minor in college, so I got you, dog. Don't even worry about it. Yeah.
Everything's tracking now.
Yeah,
wow.
I love telling people what to do with their lives while my life falls apart. So it's great.
Okay, well, that makes me follow-up question. Also, I'm sorry if you don't believe in it. What's your zodiac sign?
Wait, are you okay? Do you think, here's a test that I like to give people. Do you think that you could do you feel like you can talk to people and be like, oh, you're clearly an Aquarius or something? Do you feel like you're one of those people?
Sometimes.
Do you feel like you know what my sign would be then?
Maybe. Can I take a guess?
Yeah, take a guess.
I think you might be a Cancer.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I guess Cancer is fine. It's always such a harsh one to hear. It's just like, I've just heard it in a different context, you know, like HR meetings, work, all that sort of stuff. They're like, hey, Ben, can you come in here? We want to talk to you about how you're a Cancer for the team. And I'm like, actually, I'm a Leo, but that's totally fine.
Are you a Leo?
I'm a Leo, yeah.
I'm a Leo, too.
Oh, that's great. When's your birthday?
Okay. August 6th. What about yours?
Hell yeah. July 26th.
Oh, okay. So you're like a July Leo. Yeah. There is a difference. There is a difference if you care.
Yeah, you know, tell me.
July Leos are supposed to be like, they're still like the Leo, which is like the outgoing, but they are more reserved.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, they're just quieter and shyer. I feel this is just, I dated a July Leo. I lived with a July Leo. This is my interpretations of a July Leo.
Okay. I respect that. I have no problem. Here's when people ask me my sign, like my zodiac stuff, like oftentimes I just lie because they'll be like, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not a Cancer. What's the fish one? Aquarius.
Pisces.
I'm a Pisces. I'll say stuff like that, and they'll be like, oh my god, I could totally read it on you, and I'm like, I got your ass.
Well, if I'm being honest, I'm gonna say that I did assume water, some kind of water sign. I thought I could have totally been with Pisces. Do you know like your rising and moon? Okay. That's okay. That's totally fine. I don't know if the screen froze or if I asked.
Yeah. Yeah. You thought I was like, how dare you call me? Take it off.
Like the screen froze and you being like,
you were, for me, you were in the middle of being like, like you're really like giving me it, and I respect that.
So good.
Yeah, I just like to lie. I just be like, oh yeah, I'm like I'm an Aquarius rising and I'm a Taurus moon sign or whatever. And people are just like, oh my God, I totally knew. And then I just get to sit back and be like, I got your ass.
That's messed up, but that's okay. So it's fine. Sure. I just, even like when you said Taurus moon, I'm sick in the head. I go, I could see that.
See, that's what's so beautiful about all of it. Is like, it's all there to make us feel better about our place in the universe and make us think that we can understand what's happening. And I kind of embrace the idea of like, we don't have any control over any of this. And most of us are bad people who will lie to you for no reason. So it's a good message to everybody.
That's an okay lie though. To lie, like lying about that's fine. You could totally lie about worse things.
I like harmless lies. I like just like if I meet someone and I they're like, oh, so like what do you do? I'll be like, oh, I'm an architect. I'll just lie. Oh, did you go to college? Yeah, I was on hockey scholarship. And broke my tibia. I had to get out. But like it's just fun. If I really think I'm never gonna meet you again, it's tough. Yeah. I actually did that to my wife before.
Really?
When we met up, I was like, oh yeah, we're just out for my friend's engagement party. And he was not engaged. He was not dating anyone. I just said that we were at an engagement party because I thought it'd be fun. I thought I wasn't going to see her again.
Yeah.
And now she holds it over my head. She brings it up once a week, I would say. She'd be like, remember you lied to my face?
That's so good. That's so fun. There was a comic, I'd never met him before. He came through Omaha, and this one was kind of a lie that I was like, I think that went too far, and it did put a bad taste in my mouth.
You told him that you liked his act and you didn't?
No, he lied to me because I go up and introduce myself. I say, hi, I'm Joslyne. And he like, I don't know what it is, but when people smoke, they a thing in their throat. He gets up and he holds he holds something to his throat and he starts talking, and I didn't like, in the moment I was just like, this person, I was accepting this person, but then he gets up on stage and then he's like, it's an act, this is a
I hate it. Blah, blah, blah. I hate that I'm punching air right now because stuff like that makes me so upset. It makes me so furious.
Oh my God, did it cut out again?
We lost each other.
Okay,
okay. We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so when people lie about stuff like that, it drives me insane. People will do this in comedy sometimes where they'll come up to you, they'll have an accent, they'll come up and they'll be like something, and like in your mind you're like, oh, I guess that's just how this person sounds, and then they'll be like, nah, I don't talk like that. Wouldn't that be crazy? And I'm like, I'll fight you as soon as you get off stage. I'm not gonna even wait. I'll climb up the steps and beat your ass if you ever do this in front of me again. It's so disrespectful and it's so hacky, and I can't stand it. And I don't know why people do that. It's such a weird. It's not like a prank. I think they think it's a prank, but to me, it's a betrayal of my trust. It's
exactly.
Like, I took you at face value because now this is me being like, oh, is this what I do to people when I lie to them? And maybe we all have lessons to learn, but I really just have a hard time when people do stuff like that. I don't like it.
Cause it's like, I don't know. There's definitely a vibe, but also it's like, I was introducing, like, that was, I don't know.
Yeah.
It felt like we're in a green room. Like this is not, no one saw it. This was just to me.
Was it just you two?
It was just us two.
That's crazy. That's insane to me.
That's what I'm saying. And then immediately, like, I think maybe 1 second into the act, and what's crazy is I did look at it when he was holding it to his throat, and I was like, it looks like a Roku remote. But I was like, I don't know anything about anything.
Yeah, you can't take that risk. You can't be like, buddy, are you sure you didn't grab the wrong tool today? Are you sure?
And also, like, I just didn't know. I don't know. So then I played off as that, but then immediately on stage, and it takes it off, done. And
I was people laugh? Did the audience like it?
Well, I was not out there, but someone delivered to me the news that was not real, and I was like, I did feel like, whoa, I was very forward with who I was as a person when I shook your hand.
I feel that. I feel that. That's such a Leo way of looking at it. I totally get it. I totally understand where you're coming from. That's such an August Leo thing.
It's very August Leo.
Yeah.
It's crazy that even a July Leo could understand.
Yeah, no, I've been told that I don't have feelings because I'm a Leo, so it's like, who knows?
That's
really?
Not true.
No one said that. That was a lie. That was a little lie I told you. I'm being a little dramatic. Sometimes I'm dramatic, okay? That's what I need you to know.
Leo.
So that is what people say. Sometimes people are like, oh, you want to be the center of attention and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's not because I'm a Leo. It's because I'm annoying, okay? And that's what we do.
And it's like not all the time. Like I just want attention for however long my set is.
Mm-hmm.
And even afterwards, like that, I got it. I got what I wanted right there.
Absolutely.
And I'm actually okay after.
Yeah, don't talk to me off stage about what happened on stage. That was a different reality as far as I'm concerned. That was an alternate version of me. I'm just the guy over here chilling, eating this cold ass burger I ordered before my set.
Really?
Let's not get into it.
Why is that such a trope of like, that is you said that and I've experienced that. It's like you get the hot food, but you're like, I'm not going to eat before my set.
I just have I have weird stuff about that.
I
have a question for you. I've been asking other comedians this lately. Do you do self-talk before you go on stage? Do you have any sort of things like you tell yourself?
Like in my head?
Yeah. Or even if it's out loud, even if you're like, I'm a strong Black man and I can do this, like out loud.
It's actually what I was gonna say. Thank you.
August Leo vibes.
It's just Leo things. I say most of the time I'm just like, I'm actually very mean to myself if I'm very honest.
Me too.
Like I'm like you fucking pussy. That's literally how I am very harmful to myself, honestly.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on it, but usually it's like, you fucking idiot. What do you think you're doing? You stupid piece of shit. You don't belong here. But at my best, I'm like, nothing matters. Try to have fun. But yeah, I have a lot of negative self-talk most of the day.
Nothing matters.
Yeah. We're all gonna die. Everyone here is probably gonna die within the next 15 years anyway. Who cares?
Oh shit.
No, this matters.
Oh my gosh.
You're never gonna make it. All that sort of fun stuff.
Yeah, that's honestly, and what's crazy is I trick myself out of being a healthy person because I go, if I had positive self-talk, that's delusion. Mm-hmm. And so if I get up and I'm like, you're the best, you're going to do so good, that is delusional. I feel like I have to go up there and be like, am I good? Let's see.
Sure. And then you feel like you kind of have to have like an underdog mentality. You have to be like, hey, no one believes in the kid. Like, we got to go prove them wrong. Let's go sling these jokes and show these motherfuckers what it's all about. I kind of get that. I have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I want to change. Like, I see a lot of stuff about like high level athletes, and they're always like, they have such positive self-talk in all these stressful situations, or they have all these techniques that are just like, this helps them get through this high pressure situation. And I'm like, okay, what if I try positivity for once in my life? What happens?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I mean, please report back. I'm gonna
quit comedy today, probably. So you'll probably never hear. It'll be like, yeah, I had some positive self-talk before I went to my job at McDonald's, but like, other than that, I don't know if you're ever gonna hear it from me. But I'll let you know.
I do want to try it. Like, I don't know. I feel like it depends. It also depends on what's going on. Like, for example, if it's like last night I hosted a mic, and it's a mic where I always feel like the crowd is very supportive. So no matter what I say, it does go well. And so when I'm up there, I'm like, I feel great. But then it's like, for example, I did a set at our Funny Bone in Omaha like 2 weeks ago. And before then I was like, they're going to hate you. You have to like, it's just like that kind of thing. So it depends on where I'm at, what show I'm doing. And I also don't like, before that set at the Funny Bone, people were coming up and wanting to talk to me. And I had my notebook out and I was trying to be like, and there were people where I had to be like, hey, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I just like am so in my head right now that I just keep like,
you got to stop and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm mining gold right now. I don't really have time.
It's so asshole.
No, but it's tough because everybody does have kind of like it's not a superstition per se, but like a routine to help you get into it. And even if just looking at your notes, like, it's just like, I need one moment I feel that way a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought being in New York had kind of beat that out of me, because I feel like you just come from so many different chaotic situations that like you're like, okay, I'm on stage now, we're just gonna do it.
Yep.
But now coming back here, sometimes I'm like, I wish I would have just taken more time to myself, maybe like 5 minutes beforehand, and just maybe did some breathing or something, or
Yes.
like we were talking about like positive self-talk or
Yep.
something, just to get into a little bit of a different zone. And I think I've decided, now that I'm saying it on this, that's going to be something I work on from now
Oh,
on. I'm going
I
to
love
try to be
that.
better about taking a few minutes for myself to recalibrate before I get on stage, because
Yes.
I don't want to take my 10-hour car ride energy on stage to
Oh, that
people
is
who are
so
just trying to have a good time.
yeah. That is very
That's
true. Like, I forget, like, the car ride, you're, like, amped. You're, like, almost, like, show ready, and then getting out, you're like, "I just got out of a car."
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, did I snap my back in half on the way here? Oh, no, that's just the cost of being a road comic, I guess. That's just
So
how
good.
this is gonna be for a while."
That's funny.
Yeah, so I think I wanna be better about
Mm.
I like being who I am. You know, maybe a slightly heightened version of myself on stage, but like I do want to get back to like giving a performance. I want them to feel like
Heck
they're
yeah.
seeing something. And to
Yes.
do that, I kind of need to change my thinking and get into a different mode, I think.
Mhm. I relate to that a lot, actually,
I,
'cause yeah.
I want this to be like super cut into like my next set, and it's just me bombing. It's me just being like, "You got this. You're a king. You can do it," and doing like jumping jacks, and then just crickets for 45 minutes in front of people who are like,
Oh my
"We
god.
paid for this. What is this guy
Yeah.
doing?" You know?
That's really funny. I relate to that too, but also it's like I feel like I almost again, this is a very recent thing for me as well, as like I was doing stand up very often, to where I would almost like take getting on stage for granted, and
Sure.
not like preparing mentally, and then I'm up
Mhm.
there and I'm just like going through it, whereas like now I feel like I am trying to like just focus and like treat it like a performance, instead of
For
just like
sure.
I'm just getting up there.
Yeah.
So
It's hard. You know, you're always trying to find, even this far in, I'm like, what energy do I want to have? What's my voice? What am I trying to
yeah,
do? And I wish I had answers to some of these things, and I really don't. And I'm still trying to figure a lot of that out. And
to get to a psychic.
I could go to the psychic.
Go to the psychic and work these things
Yeah.
out.
She'd be like, "So you're single, right?" And I'll be like, here's $60. You've earned it."
That's gonna be me. I'm going back to her next month. I don't care.
I love your tenacity. I
I'm
love your
just gonna I'm
perseverance.
giving her another shot.
Okay. See, you're a better person than me. You look at life with more open, like an open heart and open eyes. Whereas I'm
Cheers.
like, they were wrong.
Yeah.
Fuck them. You're like, I'm gonna give her another chance. Honestly, she probably already knows that I'm coming back if she's a psychic.
Knows. She
So
knows.
it
And
is
it's
what
not
it is.
because I said, "When are you gonna be here next?" It's
Oh no.
she
You
saw
should have
me.
just left a credit card there, basically, at this point. You'd be like, look, you don't have to do anything.
Oh
You just make
god.
me feel something, and I respect that.
I love that. I will say we are rounding down towards the end of our episode. I love to give this time over to the guests, though. If you want to plug things where people can find you, how people can support
Sure.
you, where people can come see you, this is a good time to
Sure.
do it.
You can see me at my house crying myself to sleep every night. It's a good show. It lasts about 35 to 45 minutes, and boy, do I kill every night. No, I have a podcast called Troll Hole, which we mentioned before, and I do with my buddy Mike Lester, who's a very funny comedian. You can follow him at Mike Lester Humor on all platforms. You can follow me at Shaq Katzner on everything. I want to say, if you're listening in like the Midwest area, you know, if you're going to be in
Big
Minneapolis or
Midwest
in
crowd.
Minnesota, yeah, good. I'm going to be in, where am I going to be? I don't have my stuff pulled up. I'm going to be in Duluth, Minnesota. If you're listening from Minnesota, October 5th. I'm going to be in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, September 19th. I'm going to be in St. Paul, Minnesota. These are all headlining spots.
Nice.
In September, I think it's like 27th and 28th. It's that weekend. And I'll be in Cincinnati. I'll be in all these other places. And I am also a producer of the 10,000 Laughs Comedy Festival. So if you are in the tri-state area or beyond and you want to come see some great comedians, we got Rory Scovel, we got Pete Holmes, we got a bunch of other people. Come check out this festival. It's in October and it's so good. There's so many great nationally touring headliner comedians and also locals and just a bunch of different national comedians who are coming through. And I'm really excited. This is my first year producing on that. So come check that out.
Holy shit. That's so exciting. You have a great couple of months coming up.
Yeah, we're going to be busy. I like being busy and I'm excited for that. So it should be
That's
good.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to, in the description for the podcast, we will link the social media people for the fest, everything. You post your dates on your Instagram?
I have like a link tree. I have a bio, so you can just check out my follow my Instagram at Shaq Katzner on everything. Follow me on YouTube, follow me on everything, and that's where I post clips and like you can see links to everything I'm trying to invite people to. I'm doing other stuff, but you don't need to come to all that. You know, just gotta help out daddy, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would love to, especially if you've listened to this and you like me and you are somewhere I'm gonna be, I would love for you to come talk to me after the show. Okay. Yeah. After the show, we can come talk and hang. And I'm just trying to, meet new people and experience different things. So if you live in a city that I'm not going to, tell me you want me to go there. I'll try to come through.
That's so dope. That's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time today to chat with me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This is awesome.
This was so much fun. The episode will be out this week. It's currently September 10th. Okay. So maybe tomorrow, maybe on the 11th.
Oh, wow. That's a quick ass turnaround. That's great. What if I would have canceled today? What would have happened?
I don't know. The thing is it would have been fine. There's no schedule. This is a very lawless podcast. I just kind of record, turn it around.
I love that.
It's very fun.
You're such a Leo. That's incredible.
It's so Leo of me to just be like that.